Hello, I'm a gust of wind, and this is Into the Toad. One of the first realizations I can remember coming out of the medicine was the problem with language. It's such a heavy concept to realize that your way of interpreting the world for your entire life is an illusion. You've assigned symbols and ideas and words and language in between you and the world, between you and life itself. This is something we do as a species aggressively. Our most educated people are the ones who have more words for things. They even know the Latin classification terms for every species, every form of life, every creature, every phenomenon. We don't experience things, we experience the language. Where this wobbles a bit is usually when we fall in love. There are no words, right? That's how do you explain love? But in other concepts too, what is energy? Science can't tell us what energy is. There's so many things we should be alerted to this problem early on in many ways. But we're not. We never, when science says the universe is expanding faster than the speed of light. What? What are you talking? What is happening? Nothing moves faster than the speed of light. That's been proven and adopted and accepted. But everything moves faster than the speed of light? These blocks, these barriers, should clue us in that something is wrong. We're being lied to or fooled a little bit. Something doesn't add up here. As soon as you fall in love, you realize it because in life that these things aren't important anymore. The only thing that's important is the love. That's where humans are at their best. And I think that I remember coming out of one toad ceremony just understanding that love was the only thing that actually did exist. Everything that's happening is an expression or a frustration of that love, which is energy. It's like a frequency. And when we're in it, we don't feel discomfort. We don't feel boredom. We don't feel anxiety. We just feel it. And that's the medicine. People call it the love medicine. It is love. I know it sounds strange, but that's where it puts you. Because there's no room for anything else. And if you go deeper and deeper and deeper and you just keep going, at least I can only speak to my own experience, but eventually there's nothing, you can't bring anything back. The last time I went in was May of this year, a 4-day series. Each one progressively, exponentially more difficult than the previous, all building up into something so that those 4 days it was just battle mode. I don't have much recollection for anything else that happened. but getting myself up the hill to take it. And on that last day, which I do believe the medicine prepared me for with the previous days and with the previous years, with everything I have done to try to accept the beauty of things. That's the quandary with the medicine, is everything is so beautiful that you can't even breathe. It's so perfect that there's never anything to do or say about anything ever again. It's all there. It's all here. It sounds like it's just instant paradise, and it kind of is, but it's also a challenge. This is one of these concepts, and there's going to be a lot of them, that cannot be understood with words and language and the limited means I have. How can that be difficult? If everything's beautiful and perfect and it's just overwhelmingly perfect, what's the trouble about? Why is it so hard? Why do you keep saying it's hard to go up that hill and take the medicine? Well, accepting beauty means that you're not accepting everything else. You can't have it both ways. You can either have your view of the world, your opinions, your ideas, this is good, this is bad, I'm not good, all the noise, or you have the beauty. There is no middle road there. The best you can hope for is that you know the beauty is there, and it anchors you. It centers you. The rest of the stuff that you're involved in your life, it can't make many waves because you know the beauty's there, and you're not in it all the time. You haven't figured that out, but you know what's real and what isn't. And the only thing that's real is the beauty, is the love, is the energy. That's it. So when you come out of it, you want to explain that to somebody. You want to share your experience. You want to describe it. You feel like you've been given the secret that every human has been desperately seeking since the dawn of time. And now you have it. So you're going to want to talk about it. But you can't. How do you... If somebody hasn't seen it, then all the noise you're making about it is nonsense. It doesn't land. It's not going to make sense. There is no word to describe what it is. It just is. And if you feel it, you see it, you experience it, then you've changed forever. Because you know what's real. You may not change who you are in every aspect of your life to engineer some better life or better you. Like, that doesn't really matter too much. Most people do start to design a lifestyle that allows them to accept that beauty. So that would usually entail physical health and mobility, quiet, peaceful time in your day. You still want the distractions like the rest of us do, but you know they're distractions. So if you're going to drink the wine, you're doing it to kind of drown out the distractions that aren't even real in the first place. So you can see that falsehood that so many people get trapped in, and you can still get trapped in it. You can still have dependency. You can still be weak. I don't know if it matters that much, but for me, it's the truth. This love became something that I could find on my own. I didn't need the medicine every time to do it. But the only way I could see it the first time was the medicine, and the only way I can be reinforced because every time you see it, you come out and you're like, it's the first time. It's something completely different. It's It's never, oh, there it is. At least not for me. There's no description. There's no place. There's no sensation. It's just you encounter something that just leaves you wrecked, hollowed out, cracked open, but in a very pleasant way. The things you carry give structure to your life. There's things that are good, there's things that are bad. There's things that are heavy, there's things that are light. There's things that are pleasant, there's things that are unpleasant. They define your world, not just you, but your existence. You're responsible for things and other people. You're this type of person. You follow rules. You make money. You don't commit crimes. You're not one of the problems. You're one of the good guys. You're on the side of this group. You're not on the side of that group. All of this requires an enormous amount of psychic energy to maintain, to build and maintain. Once you build it, it requires just as much energy to keep it. Like, you have to keep convincing yourself that this is the reality. So you surround yourself with, media or other people that reinforce that. This is reality. You know it, right? Yes, I know it. Yeah, me too. And there's no difference between the Toad. Like, this is my reality. It doesn't mean it's any better than someone who's watching some kind of biased news source constantly and just adopting that ideology and those opinions and theories and quote-unquote truth. I don't know that there's a good and a bad. I know there's what's right and wrong for me, and this truth that cannot be defined, that changed my life, that let me feel what I've never felt. This is me. This is where I'm from, and it's where I'm going. It's everything. There really isn't anything else. This last ceremony, after the 4 days, it had built up to a very fearful march up that hill on the last day, and Chad had business to attend to, so it was just going to be me and Eric. It used to be me and Eric all the time, but for a few years now, it's been me, Eric, and Chad, because Chad facilitates the ceremonies and organizes everything and just makes it a wonderful experience for everybody. He's needed, and at first I was like, well, who is this other person in my intimate, private reality, my truth, my joy? But I soon fell in love with the guy. He's just, how do you describe him? He is love. He's already seen all this and adopted all this. And he doesn't have to talk about it anymore, but he's become it. And everything he does for other people and organizing and setting things up, it's all to facilitate this for others. And now he's getting to be someone who's actually in the medicine with me. I've come out sometimes at difficult moments, including these 4 days, where I didn't really know if I had made it, where I was, what I was. Some scary moments. And he was right there. I love coming out in the most terrifying experience and finally opening my eyes and seeing the world again and realizing that I'm still part of it. And there's Chad sitting cross-legged, looking at me, but his eyes closed. He's in meditation. He's completely in the medicine. And he hasn't taken any. And then Eric, same thing. He's a marble statue. And they're just waiting for me to come back. And sometimes they have to bring you back. I don't know how it works, but I know the deeper I get, it's the more intense it becomes, which does not seem possible. When you first take the medicine, there is no intensity anymore. There's only this. And then there's everything else. It's just noise. There's no other experience. There's no other thing. It's just this. You're pulled out of life. You're pulled out of this you're shown something and you're tossed back into this, and you're forever changed. It's the nature of life that you're starting to experience. What is all this? Where did this come from? What is the purpose? What is it? What is happening? My favorite phrase to talk to Katie, who is the biggest toad pioneer that I know. And every time we see each other, it's just, what is happening with this big grin? Like, and there's never an answer. You never are going to know. That's the joke. If there's someone in the room that answers it, they're not part of the group. They don't get it yet. You never know. But you begin to know its nature. And that is the liberation, because its nature is love. It doesn't mean cozy blankets and cuddling and that kind of intimate love. It just means love. And love is the greatest force that there is. So it's not always a kiss on the cheek. It's also a beheading. That's love too. That's the nature of our universe. And we're not really concerned with your level of comfort or the length of your life or how much pain you're going to endure while you're here. Those are not major details. It doesn't matter. When you know the nature of it, the rest is just window dressing. Like at the end of your life, you could say, oh, I had a life. I was enslaved as a child and tortured as an adult and executed before I ever had any pleasure in my life at all. Well, that's a life. Counts. You appreciate the little things in your life when you realize this, because first of all, it's moving so fast. I think part of this is getting into what is actually happening. You get a glimpse, like Eric told me that first day. He's like, you're about to experience reality. You know, if somebody says that to you, you're probably going to have a guffaw reaction, a yes, sure. But when it's Eric talking, you kind of give pause, because he does give off this vibe that he knows what he's doing. You're not going to rattle this dude with anything. He's still human, but he's let go of all the foibles, the idiosyncrasies, the character traits that people adopt to navigate and avoid conflict or look for conflict or find peace or make people happy or whatever, manipulate people around them to get what they want. All the stuff that we do. He doesn't do any of it. He's done with that. Because you can't carry that into the medicine. This fourth day in May, when it was just me and him, I knew something was coming. I probably would have chosen to run if I could, but I'm committed. I didn't want to do it. I don't want to do it now. Even though I know it's good for me, good to me, and has transformed my existence in the most loving, beautiful, joyful way that I do this. I talk about it. I don't know what else to do with it. It's not doing much good talking about it, but I can't stop talking about it. There is nothing else. Does that mean I'm a selfish person? Does it mean I'm not a loving person? Does it mean I'm not a productive person? Well, everyone's going to have their opinions. I can tell you I do not worry about those things at all. Lazy and selfish, these words mean something different to me than they might mean to you. I don't owe anybody anything in this existence. I don't have to justify my existence. I don't have to have anybody's opinions ratified upon of who I am and what I've done. None of that concerns me at all. It doesn't even cross my mind. I'm connected to what this is, and I'm going back into it. That's all that matters. If I find people who want to joke around and have fun and enjoy the things I do, then that's great. And if I don't, well, that's fine too. And the Toad community the Toad army in a introspective way. There's no desire to do violence, but you're showing up to the war, and you're by yourself, and you're going in by yourself. It's an army. It's a battle. It's the only battle you really should concern yourself with, because it's against the only thing that has control over you, which is you. And you can't carry that into the medicine. You can hold on to it. It's like Alan Watts would say, imagine when you're born, you're kicked off a cliff. And at the same time, there's a rock kicked off the cliff, and you're next to it. So you hold on to that rock, and you're clinging to it. You're getting your comfort, security, whatever you think you're getting, just go ahead and get it. But you're falling with the rock. The only thing stopping that is hitting the ground. That's your life. How do you want to proceed? Get bogged down with a bunch of nonsense and opinions and words and language to cover what is actually happening? Why was things so intense when you're 5 years old and playing tag out in the yard? Why don't you feel that anymore? Or you made a new friend at school and it just lit you up for months. Why don't you have that anymore? It's because a heavy blanket of words is on top of everything. And you're identifying with the words and the symbols and the language and the sound rather than it. It is your life. It is happening right now. It is ending right now. Right this moment. It's coming to an end. What kind of end do you want? Eric's been saying to me, soldiers prepare for battle, warriors prepare for death, since I met him. And like many of the things he tells me, I think about them for years, and their meanings change as I transition. Is it bleak to say, I'm obsessed with death? What is my life? My life is about preparing myself for death. Is that bleak? Well, is it? Because in my experience, focusing on death illuminates life. It becomes alive right in front of you when you recognize it's nature. And its nature is one of benevolence. It is love. That doesn't mean it's going to prevent you from making mistakes. That's not where we are. Where we are, the mistakes don't really matter. Even the big ones. There's an old Buddhist analogy where the man is confessing his crimes, and the monk is listening to him. He's like, I killed a man, I raped a woman, I killed an animal, I tortured all these terrible things, and the monk is still waiting for something actually significant. He said, this is all just stuff. And the significance comes when you say, I refuse to acknowledge what I am, who I am. Well, now we're talking a crime. Why would you do that? That's not helpful. And so why do we do it? Well, because it's difficult to accept the beauty of what is. If you catch a glimpse of what it feels like to accept nature, it's all one thing. There is no world without you, and there's no you without the world. There is no separating these things, and there's no end. There's transitions. There's different places. But what we're dealing with is an interminable force in a playground of constant change. It's just, and full of promise. Everything is changing all the time, and it's all striving for perfection in some way. It's aggressive in its survival, in its propagation, in its pleasure, in its beauty, in its the songbirds waking up and singing. Why are they doing that? That's life. This is the playground. And if you've got a bunch of words in your mind, and the word water means more to you than the taste of water, then you've dulled out all the high points. And it's not a criticism. We all have. This is a human thing. I don't even think it's a modern thing. I think it's a language thing. I think when we develop language to communicate with each other and become more peaceful together, at least among our own groups, we had to dial down the vitality. It's too much. That week of 4 in a row in May, every time I came out, I said to Eric, it's almost too much, because it was my limit. And he laughs because he's like, you don't even know your limits. You're immortal. You're perfect. There's nothing wrong with anything ever. So what's the trouble about? Well, the trouble is letting go of all this stuff. When you go into the medicine, you can either hold on to it and fight, which I have done. Most of my ceremonies are like that. But that last day in May, I couldn't hold on anymore. Where I was somewhere new. And I had a sense that it was okay to let go. I had grown enough to be able to respond in some way to this intensity that it's okay, which is a huge victory in me. This was what I've wanted since I started this journey. It was everything. And I thought I'd already gotten it several times. But as I got into that, I realized I never had before. And it was brutal, violent. But I'm trying to not fight it. And I'm laying down to it. I'm accepting it. But it won't stop. The more I surrender, the more intense it becomes. And then there's a realization that, oh, you're pretending to surrender. You're thinking about surrender. You're using words. You're using something other than it itself. And you're going to be punished for it. And that punishment was what felt like an eternity of death over and over. I would be crushed to death, and then I would have to release and just, okay, I'm dead, I'm gone. It's it. It's over. I'm done. It's all gone. This is not a medicine anymore. It's reality, and I'm gone, and it's all over. And I'm about to find out what there is to find out. There's no coming back, ever. And then it got more intense. I wasn't able. I let go. I'm letting go. I accept. I surrender in whatever mechanism there is. And it's not enough because the pressure increases. The violence increases. The intensity is, the world itself is about to explode because of what's going on inside me on that hilltop. The entire universe is in jeopardy of being destroyed. That's the level, because I am the universe. And what's me is being destroyed. I am being destroyed. Over and over and over. There's no way out. And it's never going to stop. And then, in one moment, I'm back. I can see myself standing on the mat. The world is a tapestry of energy and texture and color that you wonder what people are experiencing if they can meditate for weeks on end. This is where they are. It's not hard. It's not effort. You are basking in the vitality of life itself and in this vortex of energy that creates everything. Everything. This is the level of energy that you're in. Eric's walking around the mat in a circle. He reminds me of a boxer in the ring. And he points to the mat at my feet like he's pointing to his opponent that he just knocked out. And he's saying, there is only this. There is only this. And I'm coming back into my body. I'm coming back into the world. And he's now walking behind me. And he's coming back around the other way. And he says, it's all magic. It's all magic. We have lost sight of the magic. We've lost touch with the magic. And I am the magic at this moment. I am coming back into my body. It looks young and strong. I'm moving my hands and feet. Again, I'm testing my muscles. Everything is waking up. And I'm empty. This energy that just ripped me apart is now unblocked, flowing through me like a river. There's nothing slowing anything down. So I am just a tuning fork, standing on that mat, experiencing the pleasure of what it is to be truly alive. I imagine it's what the wild animals are feeling. Anything not encumbered with language and fear and confinement is experiencing this. This is life. There's nothing in me. Everything that was there from the beginning, when I started this and when I started life, from my earliest memories, it's all gone. The memories are there. I can see everything without emotion. Even things that would make me cringe. I can't believe you did that. Remember how weak you were at that moment, or you said the wrong. I just see them as a movie. I have no emotional attachment to any of it at all. In fact, most of the time I'm laughing at how stupid I actually am. I came out of the medicine one time and I just said, I am a joke. And Eric said, that's the first step to wisdom. And it is, because all of your nonsense, and you can't let it go. You can't just decide, like you're going on a diet, that you're letting all this go. It has to be ripped out of you. And that's what happened on that mat. It was all gone. I could hold on to nothing anymore. Everything was gone. And it was quiet. There was no sounds in my body. No sensation except unbridled pleasure. Waves and waves of it. Just vitality. Just pure energy. And Eric's voice was booming off the canyon walls. The rocks were pulsating. The entire earth was just coming back into its shape from what I had just put it through. It was exhaling around me. And then I just fell to the mat and tried to mumble something. Eric's looking at me, and I said, I'm just gonna breathe. I'm just gonna lay down here and breathe. And he said, I think maybe that's a good idea, Jason. Might keep you alive. That emptiness is still with me. Now, I still have access to the old fears and routines and judgments. It's all available. And a lot of it reattaches. Like a lot of it is part of the way I navigate the world. Familial relationships and all of these things have structures to them that have developed over the course of my lifetime. So a lot of these, with family, it's from the earliest days. And how do you unstructure that? It's not simple, and it's not necessarily required either. That I know the sensation of the emptiness, of the wholeness, of the oneness, of the non-duality. I have been in it. I am of it. So it doesn't matter if I have it this moment. It really doesn't. It's just, I'm in the game. I know what's real. I can get caught up in the game just like anyone else, and I can want this and pursue that and make mistakes. It doesn't change that. It changes your perspective on it. I've zoomed out. Alan Watts would say, if you zoom in on the bloodstream, you'll see all these life forms battling each other to the death constantly. It is chaos. It is a war zone. That's life. If you zoom out, it's harmony. You see this creature, the human, it's maintaining its vitality through that struggle. You can zoom in and focus on the struggle. Even the struggle of our society. The chaos, the deprivation, the anger, the rage, the unfairness, the injustice, the torture, the terrible, terrible things that we do. Yeah, if you're zoomed in, that's all you see. If you zoom out, well, you see a picture of the Earth from space. That's harmony. Look at space itself. Look at the universe. It's all harmony. You decide where you stand. And as soon as you rely on the language as the construct, you're removing yourself from the harmony. You are embedding yourself in the struggle, in the chaos, in the depravity. That's where you're choosing to live. It's a choice. You make choices every day from the moment you wake up. Daily choices. That's your life. That's who you are. Just because you don't do it consciously, or you don't like the decisions you're making and you want to pretend that you're not, none of that matters. You are making choices. You're making decisions. I'm going to smoke a cigarette. I'm going to drink a coffee. I'm going to get drunk. I'm going to chase this girl for sex. I'm going to call and scream at this person who owes me money. These are all decisions. And if you can see them as decisions, then you'll know by default there is a non-decision place where no decisions have to be made. Eric told me a story about Napoleon being on a campaign and coming back to his headquarters and his minister taking him up to the desk, and there's thousands of documents piled on top of each other. And he said, all this needs your attention, sir. Napoleon grabbed the piece of paper off the top of the list and the piece of paper off the bottom of the list. He reviewed them and he signed them and approved them. And he said, that's it. That's all we have to do. I'm done. Decisions make themselves. Because a lot of times they're not necessary. You're making decisions to satisfy these little desires in yourself, these little language-based directives that you're coming up with. If you ever got sick and were just knocked on your ass for like 2 days, in a moment where you had all these things to do, and you come out of it and you're relaxed and you're starting to feel better, and it's a much more manageable list now for some reason. Even though you did nothing for 2 days, which would have seemed like the end of everything in your previous mode, you were unable to do anything for 2 days, and now things are manageable. Why is that? Because you're constructing the urgency yourself. All the needs, all the choices that you're making, a lot of them don't need to be made. And they don't need the weight and pressure that you're attaching to them. A lot of them are attached to goals that don't even matter. Or that if you achieve them, would make your life more complicated. And more like the billionaire who gets the helicopter, as a big milestone. Now he's got his own helicopter. He doesn't have to sit in traffic anymore. Well, he's expected to be everywhere now. He can never say, I'm lost in traffic. It's too far. I don't have time. He's not allowed to say that anymore. And he brought it on himself. That's his decision. That's his choice. The language is scaffolding around us. And we think it supports us and helps us, but all it does is cloud our view. It's getting in your way. It's convenient to be able to communicate. How much talking do you do in a day, and how much is necessary? This is a big thing for me. I like to talk. And on that fourth day, after coming out of the medicine, I realized that a lot of the talking I'm doing isn't necessary. And I asked Eric, I said, I enjoy it. I like talking about the toad. I don't really talk about much else anymore. And even that, who am I to say anything about the toad? I don't know anything about it. Nobody does, especially me. All I know is that that there really isn't anything to know. That's my little secret. And that doesn't do much good for anybody who doesn't understand what that means. If you see it, then you can have concepts like that in your life because you know it. It's there. It's going to be there when you take your last breath. It's the only thing that's going to be there. There isn't anything else. And that's what Eric was saying, is there is only this. This is your death. And by definition, it's your life. What are you going to do with it? And through tears, I told Eric that day that I am going to go do some things. There's some things I have to do. And he just smiled and shook his head a little bit and said, boy, I hope these are going to be good things. And I'm so scared that they won't come to fruition that I can't even whisper what they are or even define them at all. He's the only person I ever said anything to about getting anything done. And it's just because I had a feeling that I was going to not be with him for a little while. He wasn't going to be part of this journey, this next step. There's things I have to do to introduce the toad to the world. And people have to know what this is. Not everybody. Like I said, if you're happy with your life, you can turn this off. It's medicine. It's not a toy. It's not a game. It's medicine. And it's for the people who need medicine because their world is such a constructed pile of shit that they've lost all sense of themselves. And my theory is that those people who lose themselves in this cluster of a society that we live in are the ones who can handle the medicine. If you're going through life and everything's just peachy, you won't. This isn't for you. Maybe you can't do it, which doesn't mean that you're inferior. The oak and the acorn there's no different values attached to either one. How could there be? Not everybody's ready for the medicine. It's good for everybody, but it's not for everybody, is what Eric says. It's everything. And if you're not in a position to have everything that you've ever known be destroyed and recatalogued forever, then it's not for you. It's hard to say who it is for. It gives everyone what they need. I believe that. The more I care about someone, the more I want them to do it. I want them to do it with Eric only. I don't think there's a risk except except the torment that you will go through, which you will survive, and you will decide what to do with. And the toad knows what to give you and what not to give you. I believe that. I couldn't get here. I couldn't have survived that last ceremony without that. That was a test of faith. Do you believe or not? It's not a word. It's not a yes or a no. It's not a sentence. It's not a concept. It's it. You're going to be pressed on it. And you won't have any crutch. You won't have any phrase. There's no language in there. It's your soul. Is your soul ready for this? That's how I see the warriors prepare for death phrase now. This whole experience is about preparing for death. Because the more I do, the brighter my life becomes. And it's not like I can die today without any fear. Eric probably can. And Becker probably can. I still don't want to let go of this. I still am unsure of where I'm going, but at the same time, I know it's nature. I know what is. I can't hold it in my head. I can't explain it. It's an affirmation to everything around you. This perfection that we see, these life forms, this energy, the wind, the sun, the cool water, the mountains. Come on. Are we going to pretend that it's just stuff? Are we going to pretend it's an accident? Are we going to pretend it has no spirit in it? Are we going to pretend that anything that exists is outside of this love and this energy? Or that there's anything separate, that you're separate from the Big Bang? You are the Big Bang right now. If you adopt that most commonly adopted theory that everything came from nothing or one small thing and exploded and now is continuing to expand faster than the speed of light somehow, then it's you. Where do you think you came from? You didn't come visit after it was already ongoing. There's no things being added in. That's the whole point. It's all there. It was there, and it is there. And now it's moving, and you're it, and you're moving. And sometimes when you take the medicine, you feel the velocity of it. And it's a terrifying sensation. Well, for me, terrifying. I'm sure some people enjoy it. Moving at the speed of light, not being able to have a concept of time when you're in it, it's 1,000 years and you come out and it's been 20 minutes. It's a little unsettling for most of us. But it's worth it. I would not have my life have unfolded in any other way. There's been a lot of what I used to think was negative, failure, darkness, heartache, shame, lack of achievement. I mean, really? Come on. Achieve what? Where are you going? What are you going to get? What do you think you're going to get with all the running around? Where do you think it's going? Money or wealth? Because language has us chasing money and looking at menus and price tags instead of seeing the wealth, the food, the value. It's in the way. It's in the way. And if you can have 30 seconds of your life exist without language in any way. One time coming out in Mexico, it was a big one. And Eric was talking to me, but I didn't know what he was or what the jungle was behind him or the sounds that he was making. It was all new. And in a way that it was not unsettling because I was bathed in the love, in the truth, in the reality. So I had no worry or concern about anything. I was in a strange place, and it started to coalesce around me and make sense. You go in deep on this. I don't know what it is. I just know it works. Those last 4 days, the first 3 days, I came to, huddled up in a ball, purging, just violence and darkness, and Eric screaming at me to breathe. And I had never had that happen before, but I was going in deeper than before, as deep as I could. I was trying to get through myself. And Eric has said there's people that he's seen people not breathe for 5 minutes. You're in death. In some variation of it, in some shallowness, maybe, depending on what you need and what you are. And for me, that last day, when I came to standing up, with Eric making these pronouncements around me and his voice booming off the canyon walls and the earth pulsating and settling back down into itself under me as I exhaled, was me getting what I always wanted. Let's start this over. Let's not carry anything. Let's not limit anything. Don't give me any words when I see something that I want or want to do, or I don't want any noise. I don't want the voice saying, yeah, but you can't. It's too expensive. Well, you can't. It's not responsible. Well, you can't do that. You're too weak. You're too old. You're too short. Whatever. It's all noise. The whole thing is limitation. That we spell out ourselves with these wonderful minds that can spin up tales like spinning up nightmares. It's just so good at it. And language has been part of me. I don't remember any times before. My mom used to tell the story that I taught myself how to read when I was 3 years old. I don't remember that, but I remember books being everything. Language was me. Language fit. I understood it. I struggled with other languages, but for English, it was in me already, is what it felt like. It's always felt that way. I didn't have to look what words meant. I already knew them. I even knew how to spell them. It all made sense. And then, boom, none of it made sense. The whole thing was a crutch. And I think what I want to do here is use the language that I have for the only useful purpose I can think of, which is talking about the medicine, talking about love and happiness, the only things that actually exist. Everything else is a misinterpretation of them. It's just energy flowing. Are you blocking it or not? That's not some wooey, hippie thing. It's real. People are energy. You can see it in them. You can feel it from them. You will start to see how they're handling their energy as you go down this path. And you'll see how you're handling your own energy. Walking around with a stiff neck and a stiff back every day, and there's just this concern on your mind. You're blocking the energy. What value are you? What good are you doing by worrying about something that you can't do anything about? How much of your energy is spent worrying about things outside of your control? How much do you really think is in your control? Do you think you know how to make a good decision? Is that something you pride yourself on? Do you want to know how many factors are at play in your decisions? Do you want to look at all of the things that have to happen for you to get into the point to make that decision? And the fact that there's trillions of tendrils touching every single moment. You can't make a decision. You can just flow and change course. You can't swim up this river. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can enjoy the ride. It doesn't mean you're helpless. You are this thing around you. You're not this foreigner navigating around trying to game the system. This system cannot be gamed. It's the only thing that there is. Everything else that you think you know is a concept in your mind, and it's a string of words that are just noises. They don't mean anything. If you were transported to a planet that didn't speak any human languages, what would you do? How would you communicate? How would you respond to your environment? What would you be looking for? When you look in another creature's eyes, what would be happening there if words aren't an option? Don't you think that fear, excitement, happiness, and joy, all those things might be more attainable, more easily perceptible without the noise? You know how geniuses, whatever they're a genius in or an artist in, they can't really explain how they do it. Like these painters who paint hyperrealism, which is an astounding talent. They can't say anything about how they do it. They just say how much time it takes, how long it took. Is there a technique you're going to teach people how to do this? You're going to teach people how to compose classical music that lasts for 400 years in popular culture? There's no teaching it because there's no words involved in it. You see a kid get on a BMX bike and he just looks different than everyone else on it. His body moves differently on it, or a skateboard. These are realities that we have to accept. Because there's everything else is an illusion, fostered by our language. There's only one way that I know to experience reality. That's the medicine. It's brief. It's different for everybody. It's scary as hell. But it's enough. I think even one experience would have set me on course for a more joyful, loving life. And going in and making it part of my life has turned me into what I was. Just a human being full of joy. That's what I was when I got here, and that's what I am now. I just had to be reminded of what I actually was, of what it actually is. The illusion had become so overbuilt that I was suffocating from all the wants, all the failure, all the concepts, all the opinions, all the emotions, which are different than feelings. And it's a difficult thing. It's hard to even recommend it to people you care about. It's so difficult. I can't say what's going to happen to anybody else. But this was my journey, and I'm proud of it, and I'm grateful for it. I only have one prayer left, and it's just thank you. Thank you, thank you. I'm just so lucky to be here. And I wish that for everybody.